Hey guys, what's up? We're back again. Rocket League in 2D in JavaScript, P5. All right, so this is where we left off. Okay, from video 3, we added this little boost system, and the boost kind of shows on the back of the car, and we run out of boost, and if we let go of boost, it kind of starts coming back, right? So pretty good. Kind of more challenging than maybe some people might have thought, including myself. Let's go ahead and go forward today, and if you play Rocket League, you know that around the map there are little boost capsules, right? That kind of you have to go get that give you boost in your tank, and then the boost capsules kind of go away for a little while, and then they kind of fill back up again and recharge, or they show up again and they can be recaptured. Let's do that, okay? So let's try to finish the boost system, and that'll be just about it for this video. It's going to be kind of like a lot of stuff, going on with arrays and things like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to our code. Let's take a look. So nothing new here. I'm going to collapse things. I kind of like don't want to see everything, so I'm just going to let the. So I've got a car, I've got the app, and actually, you know what? Another sneak preview function. I always like, with this new stuff, I want to make sure that it works before I go do it. So I went and did it already. We don't need that. All right, so here we go. So here's our car. Here's our app. All right. So let's actually, what we're going to do is we're going to make a new class for the boost capsule. Okay. So boost object or whatever. Okay. So let's go ahead and make one. So we're going to add a new file. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is save as. How about a boost? What should we call them? Boost. I'm having a problem with this. Like boost. Yeah, it looks like so. Today I made one called boost cell. So I'm going to call it a boost cell.js. Okay, let's save it. Boost cell.js, and here it is. Okay, so let's use function. Let's define what a boost cell is. Boost cell. So I am doing this for the second time, so it should go pretty smooth. This isn't completely live like some of the other stuff was. So I just don't want to make sure I don't ramble too much by fiddling around with code if I know it's not going to work. Okay, so how about this? Boost cell. It's going to have some properties to it. I'd like to be able to determine where it lands. Like when I make them, I should have an initial, some parameters, initial x and initial y. So that way when I place this thing, this dot x equals initial x, and this dot y equals initial y. That way that when I make them, I can kind of place them in different places. Okay? Let's just real quickly then make a show. This dot show. A show function. I can spell function, I promise. Okay, so what's it going to be? It's going to be, I'd like to make it yellow. So I don't really know the RGB value for yellow. I could take a guess. Is it like, I don't know. I'm not going to guess at it. I used to be pretty good at doing that stuff. But let's go find, this is really neat. You can just do RGB color picker. So I've used this thing a bunch of times. And you slide to the color that you want, and then it tells you the RGB. Look at that. So 240, 240, 60. It looks like it'll be pretty yellow. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. 240, 240, 60. All right, and I'm going to draw a rectangle. I'm going to draw a rectangle. So do you remember what we did for the car? So the car, you guys, is like, do you see how the show thing works for the car? It translates the drawing object, rotates, draws the car, and then it's kind of there right now. So let's leave that alone right now. We might be okay. I'm worried that something's going to happen because we're moving the drawing object around. We might have a little bit of a problem. So let's actually just try it. Let's see what it looks like if we draw a rectangle at this dot x, this dot y, with a width and height of like, I don't know, 15. So it's kind of small, a little boost chunk, right? So let's go ahead and, by the way, I almost always forget this, so maybe you guys won't. We need to link this script in the HTML. Okay, so we need to go to the HTML. So before it's even going to work, we need to link it to our HTML so it knows to load from this script. So there you go, boostcell.js. There we go. And that's the one. So it is lowercase boostcell.js. I hope I'm not like, I did write one of these before, so I hope it's not like getting it from that. Okay, so let's actually, so in our app, let's create a boost cell. Let's make a var called the boost cell. And in the setup, let's say that a boost cell is going to equal a new boost cell. At the location, how about right in the middle, width divided by 2, height divided by 2. There we go. So now in my draw function, I should probably show the boost cell as well. So boost cell dot show. All right, so are we going to get a boost cell or are we going to get an error? This is the game that we play, right? What are we going to get? Error. Okay, how about this? I'm going to see if I can find it without using the console. I bet it was in my new class, right? Initial, okay, there. I bet that's it, right? Initial Y. If I save that, does it like that? No, still not. I have another error. Okay, fine. I'll go to the console. Okay, unexpected end of input at the car. Okay. Well, let's check it out. So at the car function, let's take a look. The car function, unexpected end of input. That means we don't have a, these guys, I deleted like a curly brace at the end here. So the car like never ended. How about that? There we go. Okay, but I don't get a boost cell. And I think I know why. Oh, do you see that over there? Okay, so check this out. Did you see that? Like, I'm gonna refresh this. Do you see that boost cell up in the corner that flew by? So it's because we drew the car. So I want you guys to think about this. There's the boost cell, and every time I move the car, I'm moving the boost cell on accident. So what we're doing is, it's because we're translating the drawing object to the location of the car, and we're not translating it back to the origin. Okay, so let's actually fix that with the car. So I was worried about that, and indeed that worked. So like, remember when we translate the drawing object to the car, and then by the time that it gets to drawing the boost object, I'm drawing it relative to where the car is. So if you think about this, let's go back to the beginning here. The car is here, and it's calculating width divided by 2 and height divided by 2, and it's going ahead and doing that from here, so the boost object is down here somewhere. And then when the car starts moving, the boost kind of like is affected by the car. Okay, so it's because we use that strategy of moving the drawing object that the boost, where the boost object is drawn, is relative to the car, right? So when we told the drawing object to draw a boost object at this, width divided by 2, height divided by 2, it actually is starting here, and it's going, in its mind, it's going down here and over there, just like we told it to, right? And as the car moves, the drawing object rotates, so it goes here, right? So here's what we have to do, okay? This is going to solve a lot of problems for us in the future, is we have to unrotate, well, we have to go to the car, and we have to unrotate and untranslate the drawing object back to the origin, okay? So after we're done making the rectangle, right? So do you see how we rotate? So first we translate, then we rotate. We're going to have to undo that in the reverse order. We're going to have to unrotate and then untranslate. So I'm going to take this line of code. So if I rotated -1 angle on the way there, I should probably rotate +1 angle on the way back, right? So how do I undo this translation then? So if I do translate, if I translated this dot x, this dot y, I should probably untranslate by doing negative this dot x, negative this dot y. Okay, if I save that, I should have a boost object in the middle. Okay, and that actually is better. Okay, so if you can remember, now every time the car is drawn, so the drawing object comes and draws the car, and then it goes back to where it was, so that when we draw the boost, it actually makes sense, like where it is. It's because we reset the origin of the drawing object, and now it can kind of go where we feel like it should go. So good, we have a boost object. All right, let's move on. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Okay, the boost object gets drawn on top, but I'm not really worried about that right now. Okay, so let's delete this. Let's make a bunch of them. Let's say that boost cell, I'm going to delete this one. There's going to be a whole bunch of them. Okay, now the way you do things in JavaScript, hopefully you have some familiarity with this, If you don't, then you're going to need to kind of look up another video because I don't think I have a lot of time to like give you a tutorial on arrays. So what this means is I'm creating a bucket. Okay, boost cells. Okay, boost cells is going to be a bucket full of boost cells. Right now that bucket is empty. I'm going to fill it up. So as part of my setup, I'm going to fill up that bucket. So I'm going to say boost cells. I want you to fill yourself up with a boost, just one of them. How about this? Boost cells dot push. Okay, so this is a JavaScript. This is not P5. JavaScript, the way you add things to an array or a bucket is you say dot push, and you add into the bucket. So what would we like to add? Just like we created a new car here, we want to create a new boost cell. New boost cell. And where would we like this boost cell? How about it's at 100 by 100. And let's just add one more and and actually let's add 6 of them where they're all supposed to be. Okay, so let's look at the map. So I want to do them kind of like there, 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 and then down here, there, there, there. Okay, so there's like 6 of them. Like if you play Rocket League, you probably know what I'm talking about. The 6 big boost cells that that give you 100. All right, so let's so there's one at 100, 100. Then there's going to be one. I'm going to copy this 6 times, and then I'm just going to change those parameters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there's going to be one at 100, 100. And then there's going to be one in the middle, so width divided by 2, 100. Then it's going to be the whole width. So I want it to be like 100 off of the edge, but to the inside. Can we show you this? So if this is 100 in, that's the first one that we made. Then we made one right in the middle right here. Now I want one 100 off of the width. Do you see that? So like this one's going to be width of the canvas minus 100. By the way, when we use width, that's the width of the canvas. Okay? So we have one, this creates the top row of boost cells. Now I want to do everything on the bottom. So instead of everything being 100 off of the top, I'd like, 100 gives you 100 off the top. I'd like everything to be 100 off the bottom. So I guess I'm going to change all of these, the y coordinates here, to height minus 100. And remember, minus kind of goes up. So height minus 100. So everything's going to be at this level. Okay, how about this? Height minus 100 will now go everywhere here. And I guess the locations of these things are going to be the same as the locations. The width-wise, they're going to be lined up with these. So I guess this one could go here, and then this one could go here. All right, so maybe, so you can visualize it this way. This is the top row of boosts. All of them are at height 100, which is like 100 from the top. They kind of go from 100 off the left edge to the middle to 100 off the right edge. Now they're along the top, right? Height minus 100. This is 100 off the left edge, right down the middle, and 100 off the right edge. Okay? So now we have this array of boost cells. Okay? So we don't actually have to call the show function for each one of them over, one by one. Luckily, the JavaScript language and really every language that I know about has this function of showing. I'm actually going to show the car last so I don't get that overlappingness. So the car gets shown last. So this is how you actually go through every single item in boost cells bucket. Here's how you do it. For var I equals 0. I is less than boost cells dot length. Okay, you guys probably, if you haven't done this kind of thing before, this is probably really confusing looking. I'm going to do my best to explain it. I++. Okay. All right, so here's what we're going to do. This little structure here is a loop that runs over and over and over and over and over again. And so basically what's going on is that I is like your little timer, your counter. Okay, and you want to run through this for as long as I is less than the length of the boost cells, which basically means it's going to be less than, how many is this? 6, right? I is less than 6. So it's going to execute inside this block 6 times. Because at the end of every time it runs, this is the command we give it. I++ means add 1 to yourself, I. So it's going to be once for when I is 0, once for when I is 1, once for when I is 2, once for when I is 3, and so on and so on. Okay? So we're going to run this 6 times, and here's how we access the items inside of boost cells. Boost cells at I. So this is going to be the very first boost cell that we made, right? The very first boost cell that we made was up here. So this is, I guess, boost cells at 0. This is boost cells at 1, boost cells at 2, boost cells at 3, and so on and so on. So I guess by using I as the index inside the bucket, it's going to climb from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There you go. There is no 6 because remember we started at 0. So I would like every boost cell to dot show. Does that make sense? All right. So here we go. So this, we don't have to write things 6 times. This is kind of a nice way to write it, okay? So let's see if we get an error or we get 6 boost cells. Oh, there they are. Hey, fantastic. There they go. Okay? We got our boost cells. All right, so they don't do anything yet, but at least they're there, okay? So now we have some boost cells, and right now our boost is recharged by letting go of spacebar. So what I want to do now is create a need for these boost cells. So I'm going to go into my car class real quick, and I'm going to delete. So look at how nice this is. You can collapse things if you want. I'm going to delete that little part of the code that said, do you remember when we had no boost? Do you remember this little thing? We actually said, all right, if you're not pushing the boost button or the space bar, if you have some room to add some boost, go ahead and add some boost. What if I take this out? What if I delete this? Okay, and I save, and then I go back to my game, and I refresh. I can use my boost, but as soon as I run out, now I'm not pushing boost. I'm not recharging anymore, right? So this creates the need for the boosts. Okay, I'm going to use this for a little while just to kind of like make sure that I'm really getting boost from the boost cells and not just by letting go of the spacebar. Okay, all right, here we go. So next thing that we need to do is we need to determine when the car is touching the boost cell. Okay, we need to actually let's write it from the top down, meaning let's kind of go to the app and then kind of write some language about what it means to touch the boost and get boost, okay? So we're going to define functions, we're going to use functions as if they exist, but we really don't have them yet, and we're going to have to define them or implement them later. So let's go to the app. So let's not check moves. Let's actually make a new function called check boost. I swear I can spell function. Check boost. How about check boost? Check boost cell. I want to name this really well so when I come back, what am I going to do? Check if touching boost. I'm just going to use that. How about that? Function check if touching boost. Okay. I would rather be very clear with my methods, my names of methods, than make them short and then later on not know what I'm talking about. This is something that I truly believe is good. Go ahead and write what it means. Don't try to like abbreviate it, okay? So check if touching boost. What does that mean? So I guess what am I going to do then? Okay, so if car dot touches. Okay, actually, you know what I need to do is I need to kind of check all the time, check all of the boost objects to see if they're being touched. Does that make sense? So I should borrow this loop again. Do you remember the loop for? You can go copy paste this if you want, but I'm just going to do this. I is less than boost cells dot length I plus plus. So now I need to check if the car touches boost cells at I. Okay? If the car touches that boost cell, if car touches boost cell at I, then I'd like to car.addBoost. Okay? And then I'd like to somehow like, so what's going to happen to the boost cell? I guess the boost cell is going to be get collected, right? The boost is going to have to like, so when the boost cell gets collected, it's going to have to like, do stuff like disappear. So I guess boost cells at I, I'd like you to get collected. Okay? Okay. So let's kind of work on these little by little. We're probably, because we're writing a lot of code, we're probably going to run into some errors, but let's just kind of review what we're talking about. So check if touching boost. What does that mean? I'm going to loop through all of my boost cells in the bucket and to see if the car happens to be touching that boost cell. If the car touches that boost cell, then I'd like to add some boost to the car, and then I'd like that boost cell to get collected. And we're going to have to define what all that stuff means. So I see this function we're going to have to define, this function we're going to have to define, and that function we're going to have to define. Okay, but before we do that, when should we check if touching boost? It should be, I guess, the same place that we're checking moves, right? I guess, right around there. So how about there? So check, there you go, check if touching boost. So right about there, we should, in our draw function, we should always be checking if we're touching boost, okay? So I guess if car is touching boost cell, okay, then there you go, boost cells at I. Okay, so here's what we do. Let's go take care of the car stuff, okay? Let's talk about the touches function. So let's go to car. By the way, I want to save that before my computer dies or something. So how about this dot? You guys saw this one. Remember when I said, oops, sneak preview function? This is the one that I kind of let out of the bag. This dot touches is going to be a function, and it had a parameter. This is the first one we have in here. Do you remember? Let's go back. When I say a parameter, it means it touches, and then something goes in here, right? If it touches that particular object. So when you write something like this, if you want to, there's different things I guess the car could be touching, then we're going to check this particular object when it gets passed in to the car. And now we get to kind of play with it in here by, this is where you put the parameter value here. So I guess what kind of thing are we passing in here? I guess we're passing in a boost cell for touches, right? Now, okay, so there's probably something, with the ball it's going to be different. But for touches, I guess it's going to be this is the function we're going to use for touching a boost cell. So what's close enough? I don't know. So okay, we can't really use this because I saved and now we have all this code that's not complete, so I can't really do it. So what's close enough? Maybe within 10 pixels or something like that, right? So how about this? If right, so we just need to return, okay, so if it's true that the distance between this dot x, so the distance between the point of the center of my car, which is this dot x, this dot y, right? And then there's two more parameters, the boost cell dot x and the boost cells dot y. Doesn't every boost cell have one of those? Let's see, doesn't it? I want to make sure that they do. They do, this dot x, this dot y. So every boost cell has one of these. If that distance is, let's say, less than 10, 15, I don't know. We'll be able to figure it out. So if the distance between those two, the center of the car and the center of the boost cell, is less than 15, which it really isn't all that big, then I'd like to return true. Okay, now some of you guys are probably screaming at your screen like, why don't you just return the distance? Yeah, I know, yeah, but I'm trying to make it readable. Okay, so if the distances between the two are small enough, then we're going to return true. You can do this all in one line if you want to be like that. So then, okay, does that work for touches? That makes sense. I want to make sure I don't have any syntax errors. Boost cell dot x, boost cell dot y, less than 15. Okay, this feels pretty clean. So now that this is done, if the car touches the boost cell, okay, remember now we're going to, if they're close enough, then we'd like to do things. Car dot add boost. Let's go ahead and do that one. I'm going to save this. So let's go ahead and shut that down. Let's do this dot add. What does it mean to add boost? This dot add boost is going to be a function, and there's no parameters to it. I'm just going to take my boost amount, this dot boost amount, and I'm just going to add to it well, actually, I only want to add to it if there's room. If this dot boost amount happens to be, actually, you know what? I'm going to reverse this. So I'm first going to add, I don't know, how about 20? How about 25? So you add 25 to your boost amount. And so if it happens to be the case after you do that, if this boost amount happened to go too high, greater than this dot boost capacity, then all we're going to do is just reset the boost amount back down to where it should be, right? We should never be able to go higher than the boost capacity. So this dot boost amount, let's go back down to this dot boost capacity. So can we make sense of this? So we're always going to be adding boost. So let's say you use a little tiny bit of boost, like you puff a boost and you're down at 93 or whatever. Then you run over a boost cell. So for a second here in the code, if you have 93 boost, you're going to get added up, and then you're going to have something like 118 boost or whatever, right? But then this code will fix that. If your boost amount is higher than the boost capacity, then your boost amount will be 100. Okay, so you're protecting from having too much boost. So there you go. That's add boost. Now I guess we need to make the cell stuff. Okay. All right, so the boost cell, we said, oh, there's all kinds of weird stuff here. Get collected. Okay, the boost cell is going to do some weird stuff. Okay, how about this? The boost cell can be in a couple of different states. It can be either charged, meaning it's there, or it's not charged, meaning it's not there. So I'm going to make a variable for that. Every boost cell is either charged or not charged. So let's say this is charged, is going to result to true at the beginning. So when we make the game, or when every boost cell is created, it's charged. Okay? So that's great. So let's get collected now. This dot get collected, I suppose, means what? To get collected just means it's not charged anymore. So this dot is charged is false. And I think right now this code looks kind of bare bones and maybe unnecessary. But we're going to flesh these out. There's kind of stuff that we have to do with these boost objects that these are going to be nice to have, these charged. Okay, so if it's not charged, so if it's false, right, I don't want to show it. So how do I do that? How do I make it so that it only shows if it's charged? Well, I don't know if I want to, like, how about I control it from within the show function? How about I only draw it if it's charged? So I just say if this dot is charged, then I'll draw it. Otherwise, I don't want to draw it. Okay, I only draw this stuff if it's charged. Okay, so you'll notice right now we actually have no mechanism yet for the boost getting recharged. So it's kind of like, it's going to go away forever for now, but we'll fix that before even this video ends. We'll fix that part. Okay, so let's take a look. Do we have a problem, or are we good? We have problems. Let's go. I'm going to inspect and look at my console. Because we wrote so much code, I almost always screw something up. So unexpected token in boost cell JS13. It's saying there's an open curly brace I shouldn't have. Boost cell 13. This doc. Oh, I did this thing, my Java thing again. You guys probably saw that. Anything else? There we go. Okay, so let's close the console and let's see if we collect these guys. Okay, we collect them. Cool, fun, right? So now we can collect them. So what we should do? They don't ever come back. What I want to do, actually, I'm going to spend all my boost when we get to start the game. So I have no more boost left. Can I collect it and get some? Let's say I collect like a couple of them. Ooh, maybe we really nailed that that number, that 15. That 15 might be really good for like the distance between. So I've collected a few boosts. Do I have some? Yeah. And then I run out. Okay. So that's kind of cool, right? So we can collect all these boosts and we can spend them. Okay, they don't last all that long. So I'm totally empty. What does one boost give you as far as like, okay, one boost gives you, that's a lot. That's maybe too much. Oh, I think I know what's going on here. Okay, watch this. Actually, let's log this. Oh, wow. Okay. I bet. Okay, let's talk about this real quick. This is important. I'm going to log the boost and show you guys something weird that's happening because I thought we only added 25. So let's actually go. Can we in the draw function or in the show function? How about this? Let's log console.log this .boost amount. Check this out. So let's do this. Let's refresh our game, and then I'm going to go to the console. So I have 100 boosts, right? So let's spend the boost. I'm going to spend it. There it goes. I've spent all my boost. Remember what we said for the boost? We only wanted to add 25 boost. You guys see it down at the bottom of the screen? It's writing 0 a billion zillion times. Instead of writing them all, it just tells me how many times it's written it in a row. Do you see that? So let's collect a boost. We expect 25, but what do we get? 100. Does anybody know why? I think I know why. You get 100 boost. I think I know why. Okay, so here's why, right? Look at that. Do you see that? Actually, do you see what happens? The boost is still there, even though it's not being drawn. It has a location. So there's an invisible boost here. So I'm going to try to hit it. I'm going to try to hit that invisible boost. Did I miss it? Oh, I swear I can get this. Oh, no, I just ran the car off the map. Come back, car. Okay, let me try this one more time for the last time here. Okay, so I'm gonna spend a bunch of boost. Okay, I'm sitting here spending boost. Can I go collect it again? I can. Do you see that? I'm collecting an invisible boost. That shouldn't be allowed, right? So I think we can fix this. Okay, so how about you only get to add boost? You only get to add boost. Let's go to this the app. I think we can fix this pretty easily. So how about if the car touches the boost cell, and it happens to be that that boost cell is charged. So what I'm going to do is grab this. Two things have to be true about getting boost to your car. I want to, so if it's the case that boost cells dot at I is charged, and the car is touching that boost cell, then I want to add boost. Okay, so what's going to happen here now? How does that change things, right? So now the instant that I touch a charged boost cell, what happens? I get boost to my car, that's 25, right? And then the boost cell gets collected. And what happens when a boost cell gets collected? It's false. So the instant that it gets touched, it allows the car to get a little boost, and then it's no longer charged, and it won't continue giving it boost. Does that make sense? So let's figure this out real quick. I know we're kind of running long on this video. I really also want to do the recharging of the boost. Okay, so there we go. So let's refresh this. I'm going to spend my boost and do all that good stuff. Go to my console. Let's make sure this worked. Console. Okay, I have no boost left. Okay, so I should get 100 boost, right? Oh, I only got 25. Good. So that's exactly what I wanted, right? I only get 25 boost. Okay, so that feels better. So 0 boost, 25. I only get 25, and I no longer can get the boost right there, even though it's really there and visibly it's there. It's not charged, so I don't actually get the boost for it. Does that make sense? So let's play around with it and make sure that so I'm empty. How much does one boost give you? About like that. So that's kind of nice, actually. We can tailor those numbers later, but one boost gives you just a little spurt. All right. One last thing to do is to let these boosts recharge. Okay, let's do it. Let's make the boost recharge, and we'll call it good. So what does it mean for okay, we have to have okay. So in order for the boosts to repopulate, we need to kind of know when they got collected. And then if a certain amount of time has passed, then we want it to repopulate or charge itself up again. Okay? So we need to keep a variable called this.timeCollected. And at first there really is none. Okay? But get collected, now we actually have, so as soon as it gets collected, let's say this.timeCollected. Do you guys remember how to do this? There's a JavaScript thing, there's a P5 thing that's really nice. You can kind of take a timestamp of when something happened by using this, millis. What do you think millis stands for? Milliseconds. Milliseconds it takes a time, right? Can you imagine the program's going to write down the time at which the thing was collected. And now we get to use that and compare it. So millis always talks about the current moment at the moment of the execution, how many milliseconds have passed. So it's like a timer. So we get to record that time once, and then we need a function that recharges these things. How about this.recharge? So they're just going to recharge. It's going to be a function. Okay, so this.recharge. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if the current time, which is millis, right? And if you take the difference between now and when the thing was collected, this.timeCollected, and we take those two, no, the time collected is not a function, it's a variable. If millis minus time collected is, let's say, how long do we want it to take to repopulate? Is greater than 2 seconds, maybe? 2 seconds sound good? So 2 seconds in milliseconds is 2,000. So if it's been longer than 2 seconds, okay, fine, you get to be charged now. This dot is charged is true. Set yourself to true. Okay? And then what we need to do is, I think that's good. I think that's good. So I guess what's going on now is that now I guess everything that's already charged is going to continue to be recharged. So I guess there's a little redundant code. Maybe if we have problems with execution, we can come back and fix that. So I think what's going on now is that every boost cell that's already charged is also going to go through this process. But maybe that's okay. Maybe that's okay. So actually, we need to kind of recharge every boost cell constantly, like all the time. They should be recharging or checking to see if they need to be recharged. So I guess that needs to happen inside the app. So let's go to our draw, I guess, right? So let's go in here. So we're going to show the boosts, but we might as well also recharge them in the meantime, right? Boost cells dot at I. We're going to recharge it. That makes sense. So now every boost cell is going to recharge, even though it might already be charged. But that's okay because there's no consequence to that. If it's already charged, it's going to just set itself to still true, I guess. Does that make sense? So let's see if this worked. Let's see if this worked. All right. So let's see if we collect one. Goes away. Does it come back? Yes, it does. Very good. Excellent. All right. So let's run out of boost. Run out of boost. Collect it. We get a little more boost. Does the boost come back? There you go. So maybe 2 seconds is too puny. I'm going to change it real quick, and then I'm going to cut off the video. Maybe 4 seconds I think is kind of better. Like boosts should be kind of like, kind of a special thing to get, right? So you get your boost, and then it takes a while for it to come back, right? You're playing with somebody, and those boosts don't show up very often. There you go. We love it. Fantastic. Now I guess they're all kind of like little boosts, but we can the other things about like how much boost they give you and where they all are easy to change, and you get to customize your game wherever you want to go. So we just added boost to our field, right? Pretty neato. We're getting close now. Maybe next would be to have another car on the field, and we can zoom around with 2 cars. And of course the ball, I've been kind of saving the ball because the ball is going to take a while. The ball and interacting with the car is going to be brutal, as I've hinted at for a while. Okay. We'll do all that with the walls, and I know you guys are probably bothered by the walls right now. We'll do all that as soon as we do like the ball, okay? So let the ball bounce off the wall, the cars bounce off the wall. But I really hope you're having fun. I hope you can see that we're making progress and that we can do anything together. We got this, and programming is awesome, okay? I'm really happy to be doing this with you guys. Please leave me a comment or a note, and I'll talk to you guys in the near future. Happy coding. See you later.